path can go offer?
The path of a man who shares his hatred of evil and wishes to serve true justice. The path of the League of Shadows.
The vigilantes.
No. The vigilante is just a man lost in a scramble for his own gratification. He can be destroyed or locked up. But if you make yourself more than just a man, if you devote yourself to an ideal, and if they can't stop you, then you become something else entirely.
Which is?
Legend.
good bodybuilders have the same mind when it comes to sculpting than a sculptor has. You have to analyze it. You look in the mirror and just say, okay, I need a little bit more deltoids, a little bit more shoulders so to get the proportions right. So what you do is you exercise and put those deltoids on. Whereas an artist would just slap on some clay on each side, you know, and this is maybe the easier way. We go through the harder way because you have to do it on a human body, you know. I mean, obviously a lot of people look at you and they think it's kind of strange what you're doing, you know. But those are the people who don't know much about it. You know, as soon as you find out about what the whole thing is about, then it's just like another thing. I mean, it's not any stranger as going into a car and trying to go in a quarter mile 5 seconds. I mean, that's for me strange.